All right, everyone, welcome into another episode of the Spoiler Alert podcast. Almost said sleeping with the numbers. That was very close. But this is the Spoiler Alert podcast. We're going to be wrapping up the 2024 film year. We're in 2025 now, but over between our last episode and now, we both saw quite a handful of movies here. So we want to be sure to get those out of here. Ty, you saw the ones that really matter with A Complete Unknown and Nosferatu. I just saw some of the little guys. The Sonic, The Juror Number Two, A Different Man. That was an older one, but that was
Yeah.
weird.
I heard I was
uh,
gonna watch that today, actually.
yeah, we'll talk about it. But we'll go through here. Only like three movies coming out this week worth somewhat talking about. We of course had the Golden Globes last night, Ty. I think you got some notes on that for the
Yeah,
movie news.
yep.
And might even throw a little game with Billy in there. Who knows?
It's
I
wild
know.
that we've been doing this damn near for 2 years.
It's cool.
Going
I
on 2
like it.
years.
It's a
It's
good
definitely
time.
been my favorite hobby ever because we went from just texting each other everything about every movie we ever saw to, "Fuck it, let's do the pod about it."
And the hard thing about it is like when we see movies, we know we're going to talk about them, so it's difficult to not like text you immediately and
I
tell you
know.
the thoughts on the film.
Yeah.
Like,
Like, a couple of these ones, I didn't text you immediately because I knew I'd be talking about them, and I just wanted to so bad. I think for A
exactly.
Complete Unknown, I ended up doing I was like, "Dude, I fucking love this movie." Like,
It's too
I
good, yeah.
couldn't hold it. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's go ahead get into this here for the upcoming movies this week. Like I said, only roughly three. There were more, but some of them are like no one gives a shit about that. Let's not waste our time. But the first one here, The Last Showgirl. A seasoned showgirl must plan for her future when her show abruptly closes after a 30-year run. So this is the first movie starring Pamela Anderson in a very long time. So she's going to be the lead here. And interesting supporting cast of Brenda Song, who, of course, we know from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody growing up, Dave Bautista, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Jason Schwartzman. Now, that name might not immediately ring a bell, but he does a lot of voice acting, and he was the Spot in the latest Spider-Verse movie.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
This is also directed by Gia Coppola, who is Francis Ford's granddaughter. So, a little bit of nepotism there, probably.
Ah, yeah, for sure.
Uh, but she was doing music videos for Halsey and Carly Rae Jepsen. So, another one of those music video directors.
Every time.
I know we've said this before. That has to just be like the quickest foot in the door to like
Surely.
show, hey, I can do things
Yeah,
and
like,
go from
maybe we
there.
should make a music video. Do we know any local rappers or musicians that would let us shoot a music video for them?
Get some SoundCloud rappers.
In the Pittsburgh or Texas, anywhere in between, hit us up.
Yeah. We do one in high school for a little bit. I don't know what happened to him, if you want to call him that, but yeah. So that looks decent enough. I am interested. I mean, Pamela Anderson's always fun to watch. She's obviously toned down from what she once was,
For sure.
but that was her point. If you watch a documentary, she's like, "I'm chill, just kind of being me now, doing her
No more
thing."
sex tapes.
No more sex tapes. That documentary was weird because she's currently married and they're like interviewing her and they're like, oh yeah, Tommy Lee was the complete love of my life.
Yeah,
And I'm
she's
like, dude,
I
you're
will never get
married.
over him.
Like, I'd be pissed if I was that dude.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Next one here, Companion. A billionaire's death sets off a chain of events for Iris and her friends during a weekend trip to his lakeside estate. So this is Sophie Thatcher, who was just in Heretic. She was in Maxine and The Boogeyman, so a solid thriller horror type actress. You had old Jack Quaid from The Boys, Lucas Gage, who probably
Oh,
another
yeah.
name that is showing up a lot more often. He was just in Smile 2, Roadhouse with Jake
Oh,
Gyllenhaal and
yeah.
Connor. I think he was in the second season of The White Lotus and Euphoria, which I've still never watched.
Yeah, we rewatched Smile 2 the other night. I love that movie. It was
Ooh,
so
that was
damn good.
good. It was
It
good.
had no business being that good, like
No, I hated, absolutely hated the first one.
yeah, I didn't
Second
think
one,
anything I
way
thought the
better.
first one was pretty shit, so
Yeah.
that was cool.
And then for writer director here, Drew Hancock didn't do a ton. You remember Fred, that high pitch fucker from
Oh
YouTube?
my.
He wrote the shows and the movies for that bastard. So middle finger to him for that. But on the good side, he wrote 19 episodes of Blue Mountain State, and that show ruled. And
Wow.
another music video director, but this time for Tenacious D. So he has some comedy in him. I'm
Ah,
not sure if this is really supposed to be a comedy, but nonetheless, a music video director.
happens every time.
Every
You
time.
just said it.
This
I think
one,
I feel
not a
like
music video. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, I feel like every director's done at least one music video. Like, I wonder if Christopher Nolan's ever done a music video.
Now we gotta look.
Quentin
Uh,
Tarantino, like,
Tarantino definitely did some
for
weird ass
sure.
music videos.
Yeah.
Director, what do you got here? No? All right, fine. Nolan, you think you're better than everyone?
Yeah, what are you, the best director of all time or something?
Yeah, man.
Don't need to direct
Calm
a music
down.
video first?
Final one here. William Tell. The narrative unfolds in the 14th century amidst the days of the Holy Roman Empire, where Europe's nations fiercely vie for supremacy, and the ambitious Austrians, desiring more land, encroach upon Switzerland, a serene and pastoral nation. So this is Ben Kingsley and Jonathan Price. So this is kind of, I feel like this one is not going to do great at a
Mhm.
box office because one, as you can probably tell right from this description I am reading, what the hell is it about? It has a guy with a crossbow on the front. That's kind of cool. But at the rest of it, you really can't tell what the hell's going on. There's not even a trailer out yet, it looks like. And it comes out
Mhm.
this week. So this is just kind of a movie they're throwing out there. But big names like Ben Kingsley in here and Jonathan Price, if you don't recognize the name, he was in a lot of old stuff. So he was in Tomorrow Never Dies, the James
Mhm.
Bond film with Pierce Brosnan. The Two Popes, that was recent. He played Pope Francis in that. The Crown, I think he might have been in Game of Thrones. I'm pretty sure he was
It sounds like
the
a familiar name.
yes, he was the High Sparrow. There you go.
Okay.
So he's just a famous British dude, and he's in this. So there you go. Those are the three movies for this week. Nothing too exciting, but hey, we're just getting started here in 2025.
I did just see this that came up. Did you ever see the original Den of Thieves movie from, like, 2015 or
I
something, I
did.
think it
I
is?
believe I did.
Apparently, there's a sequel to it coming out this week as well. It's
Okay.
called Den of Thieves 2: Pantera.
You know what? It was a freaking Joe Rogan podcast ad where I heard about Den of Thieves 2 Pantera. And the whole thing is like, now Gerard Butler is joining the mob or the crew or some shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
So I just saw it's coming out. I don't know if I'll see this one because I never saw the first one, but it is technically like the first like 2025 review or movie that like is on my radar at least.
Okay.
But I'm
There
probably
you
not
go.
going to see it. So apparently Russell or no Gerard Butler plays a guy named Big Nick,
Yeah, dude, he's Big Nick.
huge Nick.
Uh, looking at yeah, I had it rated a 5/10 for the
Okay,
first
there you
one.
go.
So
So it definitely didn't deserve a sequel, and it's probably going to be shite because it's coming out in January.
Gerard Butler's slowly becoming Bruce Willis.
Yeah, for sure. At least he can talk.
Yeah, well, yeah. For now.
But anyway, for the movie news here, which I've been taking down a lot since the last podcast, so I have a bunch to cover here. A couple really big things, but then mostly just a bunch of random shit. The biggest thing, some of the biggest news in a while, I think, is that Christopher Nolan's next movie is going to be an adaptation of The Odyssey,
Yeah.
which everybody remembers that from high school, classic, whatever. But yeah, that's going to be his next film. He's bringing it to the big screen. It is a classic piece of literature by Homer that is divided between 24
Yeah.
different. I never knew it was divided between 24 different books,
Yeah, it's
preceded
fucking
by the
huge.
Iliad. So
Yeah.
yeah, it tells the 10-year journey story of Odysseus, the king of Ithaca, as he travels home after the Trojan War. Along the way, he encounters multiple perils and discovers the death of his crewmates. His son is named, I'm going to have a great time with these pronunciations, Telemachus or something like that.
I think you got it.
Penelope, Athena, Circe, Poseidon, and Zeus are all major characters too, which is sweet as hell. But historians and scholars date the Odyssey to sometime between 700 and 650 BC. The first printed Greek version became available in 1488.
Oh,
And so ever since then, it's been one of the most studied, adapted, and parodied stories ever told. So, I mean, this is just crazy. And apparently, the cast is already starting to assemble too here. It's looking like confirmed names include Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Zendaya, Lupita Nyong'o, and Robert Pattinson, and Charlize Theron. So, huge cast too already for that.
a lot
Um,
of people Dolan's already used
yeah,
here with the Batman films. Robert
yep.
Pattinson was he ever in a Nolan
Tenet,
film?
Tenet,
He was in Tenet, then Matt Damon in Interstellar.
huh?
Um
And
and they
Oppenheimer
need to
too. Yeah.
quit throwing Zendaya down our throats. So
Yeah, I know.
he might just be in there because Tom is.
For sure. I think they just got
Um,
engaged
I'm
too.
I'm over her. That
Yeah, me too.
Challengers movie ruined it.
We'll talk about that Challengers movie because it somehow won awards over other movies
It's
last night at the Golden Globes. It was
nonsense.
ridiculous. But apparently, the Odyssey is going to be shot across the world using brand new IMAX film technology. Um, and it's going to be released July 17th, 2026, after it starts production soon. So I think this is just Nolan going for it, saying fuck it. So I can't wait to see what he's going to do with it. And it's probably already my most anticipated movie of 2026. Another thing here that's just kind of random. Jason Momoa is now going to play Lobo in the DC universe in
Mhm.
Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Apparently, he's been linked to the role ever since James Gunn came into the lead of DC. He's been vocal about it in the past, about his interest playing the role, because he's a cool biker with long hair, just like him. But apparently, Lobo is an anti hero known for his violent and irrelevant personality who hails from the planet, I don't know, Zarnia. Lobo possesses superhuman strength, regenerative abilities, and an invulnerability that makes him a formidable opponent.
So
So
fucking
obviously,
Wolverine.
right, he's just pretty much like Wolverine and Venom combined, and DC obviously likes Jason Momoa enough to keep him around after Aquaman sucked so bad but made money, so that's just him letting him do what he wants now too, apparently. Another one that's exciting though here is Austin Butler's gonna play Patrick Bateman in Luca Guadagnino's American Psycho. So it's not a remake of the original, but it's a new interpretation of the book, but it's gonna be shot for Lionsgate. So there was also rumors that Jacob Elordi was gonna play Patrick Bateman, but that didn't end up happening, which would have been really funny because like they both played Elvis and then they were both gonna be
Right.
Patrick Bateman too. But I feel like they probably just saw Austin Butler play Fade Roth, and they're like, okay, yeah, you're American Psycho,
Go
dude.
for it.
Go for it. It's yours. A couple other things here. Batman 2 did get delayed, which really, really sucks.
Damn.
It got pushed back till 2027. So it was supposed to come out October 2nd next year, but it's moving back a literal whole year to October 1st, 2027 in IMAX, they said. I can't remember why exactly it was pushed back a whole year, but they also tweaked around some other release dates coming up here. Like Mickey 17, it got moved up to March now instead of April. It switched places with Ryan Coogler's newest movie, The Sinners, which is going to be Michael B. Jordan playing twins, just like just like that other movie with Tom Hardy. So we'll see, but at least we get Mickey 17 sooner now. That's one of my most anticipated movies next year. Well, this year I should say. And then this just sucks about Batman though because it's a long time from now. One of the last things here is we're getting a new take on the horror trope, The Mummy. It's going to be revolving around an ancient mummified undead being written and directed by, this is why I took this down, the Evil Dead Rise director and filmmaker Lee Cronin. So plot details are being kept under wraps, but Cronin is hoping to breathe modern life into this old trope. He said it'll be unlike any mummy movie you've ever laid eyeballs on before. Right. He said, I'm digging deep into the earth to raise something very ancient and very frightening. So I hope it is. If it's just another old mummy movie that's just really
Yeah.
fucking lame. So yeah, hopefully it's scary. Evil Dead Rise was scary as hell. Loved that movie. But yeah, I do just have another few like three quick things here. Apparently there's a Barbie sequel in early development. We have a Malcolm in the Middle comeback at Disney Plus with all the original cast members, which is kind of funny. And then we did get the Evil Dead Burn release date, which I can't remember if I talked about it yet or not before, but that's the new title of the next Evil Dead movie. It's going to be directed by a guy named Sebastian Vanacek. I don't know. I think I said it right. Looks like he's, I don't know, Swedish or something like that. But apparently he's coming off his debut movie, which was called Infested. And apparently it felt very much like Evil Dead Rise, but with spiders. So they must have really liked that and thought, okay, you're up next to do Evil Dead. He said he wanted to do a film so nasty that it hurts when you come away tested after watching it. So that's kind of cool. I'd rather watch a scary Evil Dead movie than a bad Evil Dead movie. But all that's leading us up to what happened last night. Why we didn't record a podcast last night, the Golden Globe results. At least some of the notable ones, because it seems like this was just like not worth watching. Amelia Perez, which I'm pretty sure you hated it. was named the best motion picture, musical, or comedy. It beat out Anora
Yep.
somehow, Challengers, A Real Pain, The Substance, and Wicked.
Yep.
And it also won the best non-English language film, which just goes to show you that the Golden Globes don't really mean shit. So, like, I was mind blown by that. But apparently, here also, The Brutalist won Best Picture, Motion Picture for Drama. It beat A Complete Unknown, Dune 2, Conclave, Nickel Boys, which I have no idea what that movie is, and a movie called September 5th, which I don't know what it is either.
Yeah,
Uh,
I also looked up those two. So September 5th is about I believe a TV crew in somewhere during the Olympics. There was a hostage situation, and it's about them, I guess, broadcasting it because it happened during the Olympics or whatever. So that's what that was. The other one, literally nobody saw this movie.
yeah.
Um, I think it had less than 1,000 reviews in on IMDb, which is I don't know. I have issues when look, it feels like some of these are forced in here
Yeah,
as a
for sure.
nominee, and I think it's weird that The Brutalist. It might be an incredible movie. No one saw it because it's not available anywhere.
Yeah.
It has only premiered at a film festival so far, and it doesn't get a full release until I think it was in like 3 weeks, and that's only in the UK. So I
Yeah.
don't know when we're getting a full release here in the United States, but I think it's absurd for a movie to not only be nominated but win if
Mhm.
the vast majority of people not even didn't see it can't. We can't see
Yeah.
it.
That's like The Brutalist here. I don't even know when it comes out, wide release. I think it might be January 20th or something like that, but it's already
Oh,
been
that sorry,
nominated
sorry.
to.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh,
Was
you're
the
talking about The
Brutalist?
Brutalist? I'm sorry. I thought you were
Yes,
talking about
yes. My
Nickel
bad.
Boys.
No, Nickel Boys also. That Nickel Boys was the one. Sorry, I should have clarified. Nickel Boys was the one I looked up that had less than 1,000 reviews.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah,
Then I kept
Brutalist
going
for
on. I didn't
sure.
say the Brutalist. Yeah, my bad.
I
My
just
bad.
can't believe that it hasn't been, like, released wide enough yet, and it's winning
Yeah.
all these awards. Like, I want to see it.
Yes. Let us see it. And now they've set the expectation that, hey, this movie is incredible. It's hopefully this might actually just be a really good advertising technique.
Could be.
So when it does come out, people are like, oh, this already won Best Picture.
Right.
And everyone goes sees it. And maybe it just sucks. I
But
hope
is
not. But
Yeah. But the guy that directed it also won Best Picture, and then Adrian Brody, who stars in it, also won Best
yeah,
Actor in a Drama. So, I mean, that's a lot for one movie to
yeah,
win at the Golden Globes. So, I guess I can't wait to see that one now, which I guess it's still considered a 2024 release, though. So,
it's weird. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how their calendars work.
Apparently, a movie named Flow won Best Animated Film. Wicked
Yeah.
won the award for cinematic and box office achievement, which just sounds like a award they made up to give to Wicked.
It's like
Um,
a runner-up
yeah.
type award.
It's like a popularity award. Like, you did a really good job.
Exactly. Yeah. And it
Um,
did.
yeah, for sure. Love that movie.
Yeah.
Demi Moore won Best Performance by a Female Actor in a Motion Picture.
I
She
do think
beat
I
Mickey
agree with that.
Madison for Anora, which I feel like should have been in a drama category anyway. But as far as I know, I think Mickey Madison is still the front runner. But I mean, I love The Substance, but I still just think Mikey Madison's performance in Anora was the best this year. Not taking anything away from Demi Moore though, because I did love The Substance a lot, and she was great in that. And then just a couple other awards here. Challengers somehow won the best score, beating out Hans Zimmer and Dune fucking 2.
Yeah.
That doesn't
Shut
make
the
any
hell up.
sense at all. Shogun won best TV series for drama, which I
Still
still
gotta
need to
watch it.
watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. And pretty much then I looked it up afterwards and says everything typically says that the Globes are not an indicator for Oscars, but now the front runners may not be as far ahead as people thought with like The Brutalist and Amelia Perez doing really well last night. So who knows, but
Yeah. So,
all right.
dude, Nickel Boys at plus 1,200 is also insanity.
Nickel Boys is it's hot. Nickel
What
Boys
are
is
we
hot. Put
doing?
some money on Nickel Boys. Give it a sprinkle.
Best actor, Brody, front runner at minus 150. Timothy Chalamet at plus 125.
Mhm.
Um, Best actress, uh, Mikey Madison minus 130. Demi Moore at plus 110, where I believe she was way farther down previously
Mhm.
before this one.
Wow. But yeah, that's the end of the news. It was a good bit, but that's it. So now we can start talking about some of these movies, I think.
Before we do that, Billy's going to intrude his way in here
Oh
and
boy.
quiz you on 2024. So I got a handful of little things here. Got some numbers pulled up that I find pretty interesting. That, especially this one answer, shocked me a little bit. So I will run through these. Let's start with where we kind of ended up here with awards and everything. Let's just go top rated films. I'm going to use IMDb ratings here. Top
Okay.
rated films of 2024, and we'll just do top three.
Top three. Okay, I gotcha. Wicked.
No,
No.
nope.
Oh my.
Wicked
Is it
has an
even?
8, and that puts it at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at 8. Or I'm sorry, 5. That is number 5. So
Wow.
top 5, but not top 3.
What about Dune?
Dune is number 1.
Okay, sweet.
8.5 out of 10.
Wow. Okay, I gotta try to think about two other movies here that would be really high rated on there. Maybe a bit different than I would rate them even. Um,
I will say 2 of the 3 you haven't seen.
two of the three I haven't seen. Oh shit. One
Yeah,
is
sorry.
one the Brutalist then?
The one is The Brutalist. Yes, is number 3 at 8.1.
Okay, so then if the other one I haven't seen it, then it must be
That's one you
like,
haven't seen. I have seen, and I really liked it.
is it a Wild Robot?
It is The Wild Robot.
Okay.
8.2. So just zero point 0.3
Wow,
behind Dune Part 2 and ahead of Best Picture winning Brutalist.
that's crazy.
So yeah, that's a pretty wild one for me. Dune makes sense to me. The Wild Robot was a very surprising one, which,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that wins an award coming up
Yeah,
from
for
us.
sure. For sure.
But yeah, those are currently the top 3 on IMDb. Now, A Complete Unknown, Nosferatu, those are still pretty new. So of course ratings are still coming in. Let me just see where A Complete Unknown is sitting at the moment. 7.8, so that still puts it out of the top 3. But of course that can change as people see it. Let's get into some more numerical trivia here. So this is the one that did shock me, so that's a little bit of a hint to you. What was the highest grossing movie of 2024?
Was it Wicked?
Wicked is number 3.
3? Okay, I'm just gonna shoot back up the list again. Was it Dune?
Dune is number 7.
7?
7.
Shit.
Dune made 282 million, and just to give you that gap, Wicked made 450 so far.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I gotta do some real thinking here. The highest grossing movie of the whole year?
A whole year.
Let's see.
You
I'm
haven't
trying to
seen
look
it.
at my. Okay, I'm looking at my list here. Oh, if I haven't seen it, then shit. Oh, hold on here. Let's see.
It and
But
I
you
have
saw it?
seen it. I have seen it. It wasn't that great. But people tend to go to these movies and bring smaller people with them.
Was it? Oh, was it Moana 2?
Moana 2 is number 4.
Okay,
You're
so it's
on the
Inside
right
Out
track.
2.
Inside Out 2, number 1. Barely beating
Wow.
out 653 million. Deadpool and Wolverine, number 2 at 637 million.
Wow.
And both of them well ahead of Wicked, which I said was at 450 million.
I can't believe it beat out Deadpool and Wolverine. That's shocking.
Yeah, absolute insanity.
Yeah.
Sold 60 million tickets. Wolverine sold 59. But again, I think Inside Out 2, it's like padding your stats, right? Because you're bringing in
Yeah.
children.
Yeah, for
So if you
sure.
count that to paying customers, that
Yeah.
number's lower.
Yeah, you're not just you're not gonna bring your whole family to Deadpool and Wolverine, but you're gonna buy
Right.
3 or 4 tickets to see Inside Out 2.
Exactly. Hey,
Makes sense.
Disney knows what they're doing.
They're killing it.
This isn't a trivia thing, but that's why they are number 1 in 2024 gross with 1.9 billion dollars off of only 13 movies.
That's crazy. Oh my
More than
gosh.
double what Disney had to put out.
That's insane. Part of me wants to think Deadpool and Wolverine. Oh,
That part of you is correct.
okay.
Deadpool and Wolverine had the biggest opening weekend. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure it was the opening weekend, but this isn't uh for opening weekend. It's just weekends in general.
Mm-hmm.
Of $211 million. Inside Out 2 is in second place at only $154 million.
Wow.
So everyone went to go see Deadpool and Wolverine as soon as it came out, and it sounds like people just kind of kept seeing Inside Out 2 for a longer period. Is
Yeah.
how I imagine,
Yep.
which makes sense. Um, did I have another question?
All right.
I well, I had one more. Where the fuck did it go? Maybe I don't. Oh no, I brought it up. Nope, we're good. We're good. We did it. That was Games with Billy. I totally thought I had another question, but I instead of doing it as a question, I just told you that Disney made a shit ton of money because that's what they do.
The first game with Billy of 2025 was a success,
There we are.
and he's even got his
We
little
didn't know.
Santa hat
Yeah,
on.
yeah. I tried to find a festive Billy. And there. That's actually what I googled was festive Billy the puppet, and that's
That's
what we
fucking great.
got. So Ty, let's wrap up all these loose ends we got for 2024 movies. We saw a lot of movies here, so we
A
don't have
lot.
to go completely into
Right,
all of
right.
them. We're 28 minutes in, so we probably have a half hour to get through these. The way I kind of ordered this is I saw a handful of more movies than you did, so
Mhm.
I'm gonna go two. You're gonna do one. I'm gonna do two until
Yep,
the end when you cover Nosferatu in a complete unknown back to back because
for
those are the
sure.
ones people really care about.
For sure. Save it for the end.
That's right. So let's start it off with a firecracker. Can't even call it a bang. Carry On is a film that came out direct to Netflix with what the hell's his name? Taron
Taron
Egerton,
Edgerton.
Edgerton, and Jason Bateman. It's about a TSA agent who is getting blackmailed to let a dude through with a fucking bomb. If you think that sounds silly, it's because it is. The film, look, it is not the best film ever. It is definitely something you can just throw
Mhm.
on and be like, yeah, there's a movie going on in the background while we're cooking for Christmas or opening presents or whatever it was because it came out around Christmas time.
Yeah. Mhm.
The story's silly, like I said. If this were to ever happen, more so the dude just leaving his post over and over, that would piss everyone off.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we're trying to fucking get on a plane here, and airports are already insanity to begin with. We don't need this dude like pissing off every now and then to
Uh-huh.
annoy everyone. The action, he got fat, dude. He's huge. I don't know.
Is
I
he?
don't think they put him in a bodysuit, but man, he blew up.
I think that he has, like, a beer now or something like that, so he's probably just drinking all of his
He,
freaking beer, and I think he has a restaurant too. He probably just lives there.
Yeah, looking at his minerals and
Yeah.
so this isn't great. It's something to throw on in the background. I did not hate it. I ended up with a 6 out of 10, which honestly I was surprised, going into this movie I'm like this is going to be dumb.
Mhm.
But it was good enough to entertain me. It's only uh, it's about 2 hours, which is a little long. It kind of wears off its novelty a
Mhm.
bit early, but Jason Bateman, I don't know, he's just a good actor and he always just kind of keeps me interested. So
I do love Jason Bateman.
there you go. I think it's worth a watch. Like I said, don't have high expectations. Just go into it to have fun.
Uh-huh.
Everyone who says, "Oh, this is the new Die Hard," shut up. You're only saying it because it came out around Christmas and it takes place on Christmas.
For
Um,
sure.
so shut up. That's not true.
Yeah. Give me a break.
Give me a break. Next one here. I actually started this movie months ago on a plane, and I finally finished it because I'm like, I think I have like 20, 30 minutes left. Whatever. I'll finish it out. And that is Sweet Dreams. This is a movie that I
Okay.
thought I wanted to see earlier with Johnny Knoxville, Bobby Lee, Theo Vaughn, Gata,
Ah.
all the comedians they threw into one
Uh-huh.
movie. And I mean, Kate Upton, come on. Of course I want to see this movie.
Love her.
You see all those people, hear the names, you see Johnny Knoxville looking like himself, and you think, oh, this is going to be funny. It's not funny. It
Mm.
is, and it's not meant to be. I should also say that it is not meant to be funny. Yes, there are some parts that are silly, and you get a chuckle every now and then, but this is supposed to be a more serious movie. We talked about it probably way back when it first came out, but if we don't remember, it follows Morris, who is a alcoholic. He's now living in a sober living home and he has to coach their softball team for whatever reason. And so like they have all these silly people in there. They got Bobby Lee, they got Theo Vaughn in this sober house. And Bobby acts how you expect, like silly. Vaughn ends up being a more serious character and he's kind of a
Huh.
dick. And it throws me off. I don't like it because I know he's not that.
Yeah, that's weird.
So that really threw me off. But overall, it's just not super interesting. There's a few chuckles here and there, but like I said, this is not meant to be a comedy. It's more sad than anything, watching
Mm-hmm.
these people struggle to stay sober. The trailer tricks you into thinking it's going to be way more funny. Bobby Lee getting
Mm-hmm.
hit in the nuts with a softball. Don't go into that with those expectations. It really wasn't there for me. So ended up at a 3 out of 10 on old Sweet Dreams.
Yeah, we will definitely be talking about something else that is falsely advertised very soon. But yeah, sounds decent enough. I like all the people in it, but yeah,
yeah.
it's yeah, one of those ones. So that brings me to Y2K here, which kind of similar to DD that we saw was like just super nostalgic. This one though, it's for people that don't remember or don't know. Two high school nobodies make a decision to crash the last major celebration before the new millennium on New Year's Eve in 1999. The night becomes even crazier than they could have ever dreamed when the clock strikes midnight. So pretty much Y2K happens and all the computers and everything electronic turns against them, tries to kill them. It's really corny. It's really nostalgic though, and that's from why it hit for me. It always does. Guy's got a Green Day poster in his room. He's making a mixtape. Tim Heidecker's the dad, and Alicia Silverstone's the mom. She was super popular in the '90s. They just ride their bikes everywhere. They play an N64. But then it's just a disaster movie, and let me see who's got in it that we know. The kid from Deadpool 2, Julian Dennison, he's really
The big
funny in New
boy.
Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kid from It, I think his name's Jaden Martell. He was in It, and he was also in, I think, Glass Onion. Then we also got Rachel Zegler, who I do like her. She was pretty good in the the newest Hunger Games movie, I should say. She's gonna be Snow White, and my God, that movie looks like shit. But for this one though, it kind of is what it is. They're not trying to woo anybody. I don't really think. I think it was just the guy that directed actually used to be on SNL or write for SNL. And I think it's probably just like his love letter to like the '90s and 1999. There's just a couple funny parts happen. Like a dude eats a whole bag of drugs and then goes up to fight a robot and like gets his arms cut off in his head or something like that. And like just kind of stuff like that. The whole movie kind of has super bad vibes, but like obviously like worse than super bad. I'm looking through my notes here because I forgot all about this movie. At one point, a guy gets a blender on his dick because the blender is also sentient now. Tamagotchi kills somebody with like a drill in the head. Trying to think what else here. It's all just like fun and games, and then they become friends with Fred Durst along the way, and they
Hell
play
yeah.
like Limp Bizkit and shit. And that's when like this whole movie hinges on how much you like Limp Bizkit. If you like Limp Bizkit, you're gonna like this movie. I gave it a 6.4 out of 10. It's nothing special, but it tickles that nostalgia for me, and it was just dumb enough that I was like, yeah, sure, I'd watch it again.
It sounds kind of like the Thanksgiving movie
Mm-hmm.
where you're just not meant to be taking it seriously. It's funny.
Thanksgiving was way better than this movie, though. Is the worst part about
Fair
it.
enough,
Like,
fair enough.
so they were like, they were really trying, I think, with Thanksgiving. And this one, I don't know if they were trying that hard. Like,
Fair.
I'm looking at some reviews here on Rotten Tomatoes, and this guy said absolutely hated it. Couldn't get more than 30 minutes into the movie before I walked out. Wish I could have got a few free tickets. It's like, dude, it's not that bad at all. That's
Hey, calm down.
outrageous. This one says one of the best feel-good horror comedies in a while. Feel-good horror comedy? What is that? That guy's just making shit up.
Yeah, when you make up genres like that specific to a movie, you're kind of comparing it to nothing. So yeah,
He also gave it 5 out of 5 stars. So trust that
yeah.
guy with a grain of salt here. This guy said movie was silly but entertaining for the most part, which I wholeheartedly agree with. That's why I gave it a 6.
Good, sounds good. Let me move on here to my lowest rated. Yeah, this was the lowest rated movie I had in a long time. Mufasa, The Lion King. We watched this last night. I don't know why we watched it last night, but we did. There was apparently nothing else to watch. And yeah, so Mufasa, The Lion King is a movie that nobody asked for. Nobody really wanted this prequel because all of the people who love The Lion King are our age. And we're
Yep.
not looking for anything else kind of connecting to it. If, let's say we had kids, we'd be showing them the OG Lion King, not
For
the
sure.
remake that's completely a live action. We're not doing that. We show them the original one because it's amazing.
Mhm.
So whatever they're trying to cash grab like they do. They asked James Earl Jones if he wanted to role in this, and he said, "I'd rather die," and then he did. Um, so if that doesn't tell you how stupid this movie is, I don't know what will. Guy would literally rather die. So it is, of course, about Mufasa, but it starts out in quote unquote present day with Simba and his kid and Nala and all that. And for some reason, Simba and Nala are fucking off to go somewhere else. So the kid has to stay with Timon and Pumbaa and Rafiki, and they tell the story about Mufasa and then
Mhm.
does flashbacks. Um, the most glaring issue with this movie is that they had $200 million budget.
Mhm.
The CGI looks like it's from a PlayStation 2.
That's terrible.
It is glaringly bad. Like, I was amazed that they would put something like this out with the way it looked. The lions look completely silly. Their bodies don't match their heads. Was he a wildebeest? Timon, no, Pumbaa. Pumbaa's the wildebeest. They made him look more like a real wildebeest, but he's fucking creepy looking. He's horrifying.
Yeah.
And their mouths don't match the sound. It is just bad. And their fur does not move like fur. And I've been told from Game of Thrones and why they can't have the dire wolves in places, fur is expensive to animate.
That's crazy.
And so yeah, it's expensive to do. Maybe just don't do it. Like, if you can't do
Yeah.
it well, cut the budget in half and make it an actual animated movie. There's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with that. Look at
Yep.
Inside Out. There's your example. Look at Moana. Those movies made money. They weren't the best, but they made money and they looked good. If you can say anything about those movies, they looked great. We don't need this hyper realism CGI. It just does not look good. And that was my biggest issue with the entire movie, was just how horrible it looked for that amount of money. The second issue I had with the movie is its pacing. It doesn't make any sense. Actually, I can't say it doesn't make sense. It is all over the place. It goes way too fast. So, they flash back to Mufasa being a kid. He gets washed away in some sort of dam breakage from his family. He finds another pride and they save him. And he's like, "Hey, I gotta get back home." And they're like, "Yeah, but what if we sang a song instead about how we're gonna be brothers?" Because apparently this fucking retcons the first movie that Scar is not his real brother. And the movie is, of course, about how this guy became Scar. His name's not originally Scar. And yeah, this is all spoilers because I don't care. This movie sucked. They sing a song about how they're brothers, and during that song, they grow up. They become from the small cub lions to full grown lions.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, "Bud, what have you been doing all this time? Weren't you trying to get back to your family?" Like, that was your
Yeah.
whole reason. And no, he instead grows up with this new pride. The pride leader hates him, thinks he's a bad influence on his son, who is going to end up being Scar. And he's like, "You need to get out of here." And so he starts running away, but the leader's wife is like, "No, he can stay. He's good for our son." And then they get attacked, and Mufasa protects the wife from this other lion group, I guess. And then the guy who hated him literally 3 minutes ago, like, that's not a joke. It was 3 minutes ago, goes, "I owe you everything. I am in your complete debt. You're the best." And I'm like, dude, within 10 minutes, they are all over the place with how they hate each other. They love each other. "I'm looking
Mhm.
for my family. I'm going to stay with you." I couldn't do it. It hurt my brain. And there's some wild reviews saying that it's so good, don't listen to the haters. Listen to the haters. I'm one of them. This is bad. Don't see
Jeez.
this. Gave it a 2 out of 10. Not worth your time, money. Obviously wasn't worth Disney's money either. Could have
Yeah,
made more
cash
money if they
grab
didn't put
city.
this shit out.
Yeah, unbelievable. I never saw the first remake, the live action remake
Same.
of Lion King because I refused to. And then this one, I just even more refuse to see it.
So what they did, which was also very misleading for people, is they put all the big names in the headlines that are going to be in this movie. They're
Mhm.
barely in the movie
I'm
because
sure.
most of the big name people that you want to hear from, they're only in the current timeline. They're not in the past when they're talking about Mufasa, which is most of the movie.
Mhm.
So fucking Donald Glover plays Simba, Beyonce plays Nala, and they're barely in the movie. But of course they're like, "Oh, Donald Glover and Beyonce are in this movie." Is like, shut up.
Yeah.
No, there's not. Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen as Timon and Pumbaa. Also, only in it at the current time, or the present time, I should
Mm.
say. And they were funny. I did like Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner in this, even though
Yeah,
both
they
of
are.
them are kind of annoying, but that was good. Yeah, don't see it, Ty.
I'll skip that one for sure.
All right. I'll hit quick on this one. A Different Man. This is basically the male reverse version of The Substance.
Yeah.
So Substance is about a woman who's older and wants to get more attractive. This is about a man with a facial disfigurement who also wants to get more attractive. So he has surgery to make him not have the facial issue anymore. Years later, his old neighbor that he had a crush on is writing a play about the guy with the weird face disfigurement that lived next to her, which was him. He pretends to not be that guy and be someone else. And then someone with
Mm.
that actual face disfigurement who actually has it in real life.
Yeah, that
By the
guy
way,
looks like that.
he looks like that. He comes into their life and tries to play the role for the film and ends up kicking Sebastian Stan out of it. And the whole movie is about him being jealous of the guy with the face disfigurement because he's living his life that he thought should have been his, but instead he
Huh.
took the surgery. It wasn't really surgery. It was like some medication or something that made
Mhm.
his face better. So it's all about that. It is too long for what it is. It loses its shock value pretty early on.
Huh.
And from then on, I just really didn't super care about the movie. It's hard to feel bad for the guy that they try to make you feel bad for. I rated this a 4. If it was shorter, I probably would have went a bit higher,
Mm.
but at an hour 52, it
Yeah, pretty
probably
long.
45 minutes in, I'm like, okay, I get it. And it just kind of needed to end, and it didn't.
Yeah, I was gonna watch this one, and I don't know, I just never got around to it. So yeah, I mean, especially being that long, I feel like they could have definitely trimmed
Yeah.
that. Sounds like I'll skip it. This one we both saw. We both saw Subservience.
I did not see Subservience.
Oh, you didn't see it?
No.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hold on one second here. Let's see.
I thought about it. I never hit play.
I can really sum this one up pretty quick. It's pretty much Megan if Megan Fox was the robot and you fucked her. No, I gotta see
Nice,
what I
I'm in.
gave. What I I gotta see what I rated here. I gave it a 2.5 out of 10 because it was terrible. I just gotta find my notes now. Um, so like I said, basically just Megan, but with an actual Megan Fox, who's the hot robot.
Mhm.
Um, good robot is actually a bad robot. So it turns out like the guy's like wife is like in the hospital and is all fucked up. So he gets like this house robot or whatever, and then eventually like the robot somehow turns sentient and she starts trying to bang the husband and she likes the husband and wants to defend him and all. And then it's pretty predictable. But they were it's so funny because at one point he goes to see her in the hospital with Megan Fox and she's like, "I thought you were gonna get an old English butler," and he walks in with fucking Megan Fox. So she had to have been pissed about that. But I basically can sum this movie up by saying it's pretty much like if Megan just sucked. It was over the top and really just bad. It'll probably get a sequel though, 'cause I think it was doing numbies on Netflix, and I think they just probably would do it again. I don't know if it's a Netflix original movie or not, but it was not great. I wouldn't. It's not worth watching for sure. There's like one scene Megan Fox gets like down to like her underwear in her bra, but that's the only part that's worth watching.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, so skip that one as well.
Oh man, I'm doing a lot of talking. All right. Next
Sorry.
one here. No,
We
you're
could
good.
go to
You're good. You're good.
Homestead. We could go to Homestead. I've been itching to
Yeah.
shit on
Yeah, go
Homestead.
for it. I want it. I want to hear
So this movie,
it.
going in on a complete whim with minimal advertising or even any interesting actors that or director I could say that I've really gave a shit about. I can say it's truly one of the worst films I've ever seen, and it's just completely false advertised. So the premise for the entire movie, I'll read it off of IMDb. Actually, I'll read it off of Rotten Tomatoes here. A nuclear bomb is detonated in Los Angeles, and the nation devolves into unprecedented chaos. Sounds interesting enough, right? An ex-Green Beret, Jeff Erickson, that guy sucks dick at acting, and his family escape to the homestead, an eccentric prepper's fortress nestled in the mountains. As violent threats and apocalyptic conditions creep towards their borders, the residents of the homestead are left to wonder, how long can a group of people resist both the dangers of human nature and the bloodshed at their doorstep? That's all fine and dandy, but they just completely give up on that after about, I don't know, fucking half hour into the movie or so. So it sounds to me like they wanted people to think that this was going to be a post-apocalyptic, post-nuclear bomb drop Yellowstone type movie, which I was like, hell yeah, brother, count me in. That was just so not the case. The nuclear bomb stuff, you see it like go off or whatever, and then people get to the homestead. That's like the first 20, 30 minutes of the movie. Everything after that is just them on this farm bitching about not having enough food, bitching about not letting anybody else in, and then it's just so fucking far from what they advertise it as. And my first note about this movie was that 30 minutes in and it was already dragging. Terrible narration, which any movie with narration these days, why? Terrible dialogue and just really bad acting. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks, a brick shithouse, if you will. It was a religious movie. And it stops focusing on how a nuclear bomb was detonated and dropped and focuses on how people that are surviving in a compound are doing it all through the power of prayer and through God. So they were running out of supplies, but the wife of the homesteader, let everybody in at their gates. They're running out of stuff, and she's like, we prayed and a miracle happened. Now we have all this food and we can make it through. It was the most bullshit I've ever seen. They go from literally holding people at the gates and shooting people away to literally just being like, fuck it, come on in. God's got us. And that's pretty much how the film ends. And then it's the most egregious bullshit thing I've ever seen in my life. A guy from the movie that plays like a dumbass soldier shows up on the screen. He's like, hey guys, I know we always say put your phones away, but go ahead and pull your phone back out. Come on. Get money and buy tickets for other people to see this shit.
Oh my god. Is the homestead supposed to be symbolic to heaven?
Probably, yeah, actually.
And they're like, who gets in, who doesn't?
Literally, yeah,
Fuck
pretty
you.
much.
Fuck
It's so
you.
bad. The fact that there was a literal QR code on the screen and the guy was begging everybody to pull their phone back out was just the most egregious bullshit thing I've ever seen. They're like, donate money so somebody else can go see a ticket. Well, how the fuck are they going to give that movie to somebody else? And the worst part about it was the minimal donation. You could change it, but it started you off at $70 for like 5 tickets. Kiss my fucking ass. So I gave this movie a 1 originally, and it's a 0 because it wasn't what it was supposed to be, and it was the worst. I'd rather watch the movie about the Sasquatches again, or the fucking Jerry fucking Seinfeld Pop-Tart movie.
Oh my god.
Infuriating movie. I'm gonna read a couple of reviews here on IMDb because it's really funny too. Building a story and background. It is only made possible by the Horizon movie. I don't even know what the fuck that even says, but yeah, pretty much a lot of people are shitting on it. I looked at the breakdown of reviews here, and I'm pretty sure it's just getting like positive review bombed by like religious freaks.
Oh, of course.
Because it only has 373 10 out of 10 reviews on IMDb. Everything else, it's got way more ones than anything else. It's got 210 ones, and then everything in between, it just has like a couple here and there. It's got 13.5% 1-star reviews and 23.9% 10-star reviews, which completely weighs it out so that it ends up being like a 5 out of 10. But if it were not weighted like that, it would be so bad. And I'm curious what it got on Metacritic too, because I feel like they probably shit on it. There you go.
Yeah, looking at this dude. Also, I was looking at the director. He's only directed religious movies as well. I Still Believe, Priceless, Johnny Cash, The Redemption of American Idol. Oh, this is... Oh my god. At the end of his rope, Johnny Cash was in the cave and he laid down in the dark. Death didn't come. God did. It's like, bro, I don't know if you know Johnny Cash's story,
Right.
but he's a man in black for a reason. Yeah, his whole
See, I'm looking now at
was very religious, but not him.
I'm looking at Metacritic, and it also somehow boils down to like it's a 4, but it's because there's a couple people that gave it literal 10s. This guy's like, great movie to see for the holidays. Always a fan of Angel Studios and apocalyptic movies, and looking forward to the series that is coming out for this. I enjoyed the main character and the overall message. Suck my dick.
I'm gonna buy this for my grandson.
Yeah.
It's a good wholesome movie.
The New York Times gave it a 3, and it says, less of a self-contained movie than a pilot for a show that already exists. The quality of the acting can only improve. This one from Movie Nation says, much better villain than anybody shoved into that sort of role. There's an origin story that lacks in it. That's way too long, dude. Nobody cares. It sucks. Bad movie. Don't watch it. And after today, I don't ever want to talk about it again because I don't want
Yeah,
anybody to get
fuck that
curious
movie.
and go fucking look it up and give them the clicks and views. That movie sucks. So from now on, I'm gonna do my homework, and if I see a movie that seems interesting enough, I'm gonna make sure it's not from Angel Studios.
Yeah, with a name like that.
Not that there's even anything wrong with religious movies. Like, sure, if that's your thing, be my
Don't
guest.
force
But
it on
like,
people.
yeah, and this is just completely like they just hoodwink people into thinking
Bait
that
and
it was.
switch.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, dude, he's not even an American. This dude's Australian. That's shocking. Yeah, you gotta see God. That was bad. That was not Australian at all. It's a dingo. I don't know.
Dingo. My
I
alias
missed
for
it.
commenting on YouTube. Still, I haven't changed it.
The dingo.
Dingo.
All right, let me run through here because those two that hearing about that movie hurt my head. All right, next one here. Also, kind of religious movie, but in a different way. The Order is
Ah,
about
okay.
a white supremacy group, so that's
Oh.
kind of the same as what you were just saying. This is a true story, which really is what makes this movie the most interesting. Is that it is a true
Mhm.
story. So it's about a series of bank robberies, a car heist in the Pacific Northwest. I believe part of it takes place in Seattle, and then some of it is in a more rural town. So FBI agent is up there. He thinks this isn't criminals, but actually a group of domestic terrorists, which he is correct. This is a white supremacy group, um, and they're just causing chaos, blowing things up, being racist,
Mhm.
doing their thing. Nicholas Holt, who I just texted you about him last night, he's in everything. Like the
He's on
past
an
month, he's
absolute
had
run right
5 movies
now.
come out.
Yeah,
Um,
he's just on a run. Does
so
he play a
he's the
white
main.
supremacist in this?
He does. He's the leader.
He looks like he's got that white supremacist haircut in the
Yeah,
post.
dude, you shave that down. Uh,
The bowl
but
cut.
he did good. He did a
Okay.
really good job in this. Jude Law's underrated, I think. I do like a lot of things he's in, and I just always forget he
I think so
exists.
too.
But he's the main FBI guy here, and
Yeah.
then Ty Sheridan from Ready Player One. He is like the
Uh-huh.
local deputy kid that just kind of
Okay.
helps out. Yeah, like I said, complete true story, and that is really what makes it interesting. Otherwise, it's not the best film. The action is good. It is interesting to see that these dudes are just robbing banks so they can buy more guns to make more
Mhm.
bombs and do all this wild, crazy shit.
That is
I think
shocking.
I think this took place in the 1970s, if I'm not mistaken. So
That's what I was
not
just gonna ask, what
super long
decade?
ago. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the 70s.
Okay.
Um, but where did I rate this movie? The Order. There we go. Yeah. Also about 2 hours. It did feel longer. The acting is honestly really good. The action is fun. It
Mhm.
just kind of drags out. Once you kind of get the gist of the story, it doesn't really have anywhere else to go. And I'll
Mhm.
also say that it can be a little repetitive because they're trying to do kind of the same thing in order to make their money or whatever. And then because it's a true story and they kind of stick with what happened, it's almost an abrupt end where you're like, oh shit, are they going to get away with this or are they not? And then it just kind of ends. And you're like, I thought there was going to be more and there's not. But this is an interesting thing. The really interesting thing is that they basically believe in this book, and this book is given to them as children. It's like a picture book, and it is what kind of radicalizes people if
Huh.
they follow this book to the T. And I'm drawing a blank on the book. I'll try to figure that out. But it is obviously a real book, and a lot of white supremacist groups, a lot of domestic terrorists, they all refer to this one book. So let me see if I can find that real quick. But as a movie, I ended up giving it a 6 out of 10. It was interesting
Okay.
enough. Honestly, probably better than actually definitely better than Carry On. So maybe a 6.5. 6.5.
Okay. I wanted
Um,
to check this one out. I almost went one day like after work 'cause I saw it was playing, so I might still end up checking this one out. It's interesting enough.
yeah, and I think it's streamable. Is it on Netflix? Is that where I watched it? No, Prime. It's on Prime right now.
Oh, okay. So the order is.
I believe so. Yes.
Oh, sweet. Okay, nice.
Series around a secret society. What is the damn book? No, I didn't say. Damn it! What? What is the book? They believe that radicalizes that do. Let me try this one more search, and if I don't get it, we can just fucking move on
Yeah.
because it isn't that important. But it is the
Uh-huh.
Turner Diaries. That's what it is. The Turner Diaries.
Okay.
His most. It was written by a neo-Nazi, and his legacy is about an ultra-violent race war narrative called the Turner Diaries,
Hmm.
and it still continues to inspire extremist fiction today. So this, like, they give this to their children to read, and there's
Yeah,
like
it's crazy.
pictures drawn of it of this dude like just putting people down because he thinks that's what's right, and it's defending his country and his world. This is what I live by. It has inspired connected to over 200 killings and major several terrorist attacks, including the Oklahoma City bombing in 1995. So like this was back in the 70s or whatever, I believe, and it's still going on as recent to 1995.
Mm-hmm. That's nuts.
Yeah. And you don't think these backwoods neo Nazis read, but they apparently do. Just one book. So 6 out of 10 there. Another movie. Also, Nicholas Hoult, juror number 2. We talked about this film in our last episode because it just came out. Clint Eastwood directing this one, probably on the lower end of Clint Eastwood directed movies. It's interesting enough. Basically, and this isn't a super spoiler. I think you kind of get it in the trailer, but essentially the dude Nicholas Hoult plays is called to be a juror on a murder case, and he actually thinks he might be the murderer. He has like a dilemma. He's like, do I come out and say I think I actually did this, or does he kind of just let it happen and let this guy go to prison? And again, you find that out, the first like 15 minutes of the movie, probably
Mm-hmm.
20 minutes. And so it's just a ethical dilemma of what he does here. I did at first, I didn't know how they were going to end it. And I'm like, holy shit, they're going to end it in a way that movies usually don't go. And I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go, Clint Eastwood. That rules. No, they last second screw it up. And that caused me to drop my rating from a 7 to a 6.
Okay.
Because I was like, man, that's wild how they ended it like this. I was really happy because to end the movie the way I thought it was going to end kind of takes balls.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the times now, we see all these movies and we can just kind of predict them.
Uh-huh.
Um, that's how I thought this was going to go, and then it didn't, and then it did. So I said, well, fuck you then. I'm lowering my rating.
Mm-hmm.
So another 6 out of 10 there. I would say this is better than Carry On, but not as good as The Order. So 6.3.
Okay. You want me to
But
do Nosferatu now?
I do want you to do Nosferatu, and then I'll do my 2, and then you can end it with a bang. It's a complete unknown.
Perfect. So Nosferatu, I was hyped as this being last big release of 2024 until I saw A Complete Unknown. Robert Eggers' films are always just great. He's also done The Witch, The Lighthouse, The Northman, and now this. So it's his 4th film, but this one starts off no different. It's just absolutely beautifully shot. The cinematography is just top notch. Pretty much just on par with the rest of his movies. Lily Rose Depp, though, and Willem Dafoe really steal the show. That's not to take away from Nicholas Hoult or Aaron Taylor Johnson too, because they're both great in it as well. And Bill Skarsgård, I mean, he's completely transformed. He doesn't even sound like himself at all. The way he does the Orlok voice, it's seriously insane. But I don't, I don't think this movie uh, is scary. I expected like horror. Like that's just not the case for this one. It's a really good like dark fantasy, like dark thriller, like that kind of movie. It's more like a gothic drama, even I would call it. You see Orlok, and then you see that he's kind of just an old ass dude with a mustache, and that really took me out of it. So he wasn't really scary in that aspect, but it was scary in the fact that like he's haunting Lily Rose Depp's dreams, and coming to he's coming on a boat to come and like take over the town so he can like have her. Meanwhile, like Nicholas Holt's character's going to meet him so he can like sell him a house like nearby or something like that. Because apparently a vampire has to like have a deed to the house to be able to move. Very weird how that gets set up, but it's still a good movie. I'll say nonetheless. Just definitely different than what I was expecting. Great directing, and Lily Rose Depp pulls off physical acting better than what movies use CGI for. The way she gets like possessed at night by Orlok, and she's all kind of like contracting and stuff, and she rolls her eyes back. Looks gross, but definitely worth seeing in my opinion. It was a good movie. Wasn't a straight up horror movie though, and yeah. As far as Eggers' other movies go, I think this is definitely I like them all. They're not bad movies at all. They're all in the eights or higher. This one is definitely probably, I would say, third for me. I think I like, or tied with the Northman, I should say. I like The Witch first, and then the Lighthouse, and then the Northman in this, pretty much. So still a really good movie. I ended up an 8.4 on it, but just not quite what I expected.
Okay. I still go to see Lighthouse.
Oh, dude, Lighthouse is crazy. I
Yeah,
think Lighthouse was like one of his like they just let him do whatever kind of movies, 'cause I think it came out after The Witch, and they were just like, "Witch made a bunch of money, dude, just go ahead and do what
go
you
for
want."
it.
I think it was an A24 film too, and it just was, like, nuts.
Nice.
It's Willem Dafoe and
Um,
Robert Pattinson just being unhinged.
Willem Dafoe's in this too, right?
Yeah, yeah, he's great in this one. He
Hell yeah.
plays his name is let me find his name. He's a professor, Albin Ebenhard von Franz. He might steal he always steals the show. He's one of my
Man,
low-key favorite actors.
he's fantastic. Does Nosferatu look like OG Nosferatu? And when I say OG Nosferatu, I mean the one from SpongeBob.
No, he's scarier looking than the one in SpongeBob, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Nice.
think so. This one, he's not even that scary looking. He's just like an old dude that's all fucked up and like he's got a mustache.
He has a mustache.
Yeah, his mustache
Really?
really took me out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, mustaches aren't scary.
No, they instantly took me out of it. I was like, what the fuck? Does he have
He's
a
got a
fucking
mustache.
mustache?
That's wild. Yeah, I didn't expect. Have I ever seen a? Only time I can remember like a vampire with a mustache is like Dracula. Like the real thin
Uh-huh.
mustache, like from the
Yeah, he's got a full on
1600s or
like
whatever.
bushy, like old school, like Russian looking mustache. I'm trying to find
Why?
like I'm trying to see I don't know. It's a crazy, crazy decision in my book. But I can only find the pictures of him with like the eyes and stuff and on Google. I can't find the picture of him, like, nobody took a picture of him with the mustache when you actually see his ass. So many good shots, though. I am seeing, like, there's a point in the movie where Nicholas Holt's on his way to, like, Dracula, or not Dracula, Orlok's castle,
Huh.
and he's, like, standing in the middle of, like, a path, and, like, three are coming together, and all of a sudden this chariot with, like, horses comes up and picks him up. It looks so good. So well shot.
Yeah, this is the one I definitely want to and need to see.
Yeah, it's definitely good, but it is just not scary. So don't expect to be terrified. Just expect a good vampire movie.
And I got to be sure to see it before we do our awards because there's a chance it can sneak up in there
For
into our
sure,
top
yeah. I mean,
five.
an eight's a solid movie.
Yeah,
It's really making me upset I can't find a picture of him with the mustache. I'm gonna keep looking.
I'll see it. It'll scare me when I'm there.
Yeah.
But I'll finish out with my last two films here, and then we'll get to the goods. Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I never saw the second one.
Okay, I was gonna say, did you end up seeing the first and second one?
I saw the first one, thought it was it was whatever. Second one, never saw, didn't care to, and I also never saw the Knuckles movie. I guess it was a movie. Never saw any of that, so I was kind
Yeah.
of out of date
Mhm.
for what to expect here. But watching it, I feel like I knew everything I needed to know. I didn't miss anything. It's
Right.
whatever. The only thing that I guess I would have missed is that when Eggman comes back, Jim Carrey's character,
Mhm.
they're like, "Oh, he's supposed to be dead." I was like, "What? You just fucking killed him? That's wild. That's not what
Jesus.
Sonic does." So that was the only thing that kind of threw me off here. This movie was pretty good. I enjoyed it a good bit.
No
The
way.
reason being is it was very much like the my favorite Sonic game for I think it originally came out for Dreamcast,
Oh,
and
yeah.
played it for the GameCube. Sonic
Uh-huh.
Adventure Battle 2. It had some ridiculously long name, but
I used to
best
have one.
Sonic game. That
I
game
used to have
ruled.
so many Sonic games. I used to play them on the computer, and I think I also had one for Sega
Oh.
too. And then, like, I think I did end up getting one for GameCube or something like that. So it was super nostalgic. But I haven't seen
Yeah.
any of the movies.
Yeah, this is the only one I think we're seeing. The first
Hmm.
one's just kind of odd. It's like Sonic is here somehow, and then they kind of explain it, and it's really just Sonic versus Eggman, kind of, but also kind of versus the U.S. government. So I'm like, all right, that's fucking weird. But no, this one is good because it's Shadow is I like Shadow more than Sonic. Shadow's fucking sick, and he's played by Keanu Reeves, and it's just Keanu Reeves. But Shadow's story, like even in the game, is just terribly depressing. He like grew attached to this girl, Maria, and she fucking dies. And I think she's like a 10-year-old. And so he just only knows hate. So that was interesting. The story was good. The action was fun. And it's silly because Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey plays
Uh-huh.
himself, and he also plays his grandfather, who's just an older him with a white, bushier mustache, and he's got like liver spots on his head because he's old. But they crack me up. They make a lot of silly ass jokes. They do this random ass fucking dance routine that like normally I'm like, all right, that'd be stupid, but it was funny. It was actually
Uh-huh.
funny. There's a lot less of James Marsden in this one compared to the first one. And in the first one, I didn't give a shit about his character at all.
Yeah.
So that made this one even better because it focuses very much so on the main three: Sonic, Knuckles, Tails. I would have liked to see more Shadow, given he's like the main bad guy,
Right.
but it felt like a lot of the movie was them looking for, I think it's like a key or whatever. But it was
Okay.
fun. I enjoyed it. Worth sit down and watch. I gave it a 7 out of 10,
Sweet. Not bad.
which
I was
was
super
way
interested to
better.
see how
The
people thought about how people thought about
Oh,
Keanu.
yeah, Keanu. It was just his normal voice. It was just him
Yeah.
talking.
So
Um,
was he like the main villain, or was he just kind of like a side villain and ends up becoming their boy?
Both.
Okay.
So, like, if you know the Shadow story from the games and everything, he's bad, quote unquote, but he ends up kind of turning around.
Okay.
Um, and they end up working together. But he's the opening scene too. So like you get introduced to Shadow immediately, and he's just
Mhm.
murdering people, like
Is he on his
actually killing
motorcycle?
people. No, no motorcycle, no guns either.
Oh, no
He
shit.
just is fast as shit. So he's basically teleporting, and he
Uh-huh.
beats the hell out of people.
Oh, no shit.
So he's just a badass from the very beginning. A lot of callbacks to the video games and everything. Like, in the OG video games, when you finish a level, you run past a sign and the sign spins.
Yeah, yeah.
They did that when they were doing a race. There was also from the Sonic Adventure Battle 2, I think when like you do like a multiplayer game and you're racing people, at the end of it, there's like you in the front because you're the winner, you're celebrating, and then everyone's in the background like tapping their feet. They
Uh-huh.
did that too after a race. So a
Oh,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
callbacks to the game, which makes it pretty
That's cool.
fun and overall enjoyable story in action.
Hell yeah, that's solid then. Another one that might be a little surprise.
Yeah, I was surprised because I'm like, man, I don't care about this. I gave the first one like a 3, I think. I'm like, that was
Mhm.
dumb.
Yeah.
And again, I had nothing else to watch. At least it didn't turn out like fucking Mufasa.
I still wonder if they did the design terribly for the first one on purpose so that way they could redo it and make everybody
That's a
like it.
good question. Yeah,
We'll never know.
they're
Now
getting smarter.
it's absolutely killing it, so
Yeah, yeah, they figured it out. Then slight spoiler here, but there's a teaser at the end of this one for the next movie.
what do they tease? You can go ahead and tell
Yeah,
me.
it's a if you remember, I'm not sure. You ever watched the Sonic animated show?
Maybe.
So
A
there's a
pink girl?
she is there. Yeah, yeah. So her,
Oh, okay.
she shows up because Sonic gets into a fight with a robot Sonic, and then a
Ah.
bunch of robot Sonic show up, and then I forget her name. The pink girl shows up and like helps them fight, and then
Huh.
she puts down her hood and you see her.
Huh.
So I guess the next enemy is going to be the robot Sonics,
No way.
which was part of the animated show, which was pretty good.
Okay, makes sense.
And then Ty, all ended out here quickly on this one. Conclave. This feels like Oscar movie written all over it. You
For
kind of
sure.
see old Voldemort here getting nominated.
Yep.
Conclave movie getting nominated. It was okay. It's very slow. It is extremely
Right.
slow. So essentially the Pope dies
Uh-huh.
and they have to go through the process of voting for a new Pope, which is actually quite interesting how they do it. You would think, I didn't know there was this whole process to it, but that's what the conclave is.
Oh, okay.
Conclave is they get all of these bishops, cardinals, whatever the hell they're called together, and they have to vote for the new Pope. And if they have to win, I think it's like 3/4 majority.
Mhm.
So if they don't get that, they take a day and they vote again the next day. So it's just a bunch of politics back and forth. Well, this guy thinks this way. This guy thinks that way. This guy thinks all gays are going to hell. This guy doesn't, shit like that. And so it's just a bunch of that trying to get people to vote for each other when also it shows up that there might have been some foul play for how
Mhm.
the other pope died. they're like, did he get killed? It wasn't the most exciting movie for me. I only ended up at a 5 out of 10 for it.
Okay.
But I think people who are willing to sit down and just solely focus on this movie and won't get bothered by how much it drags, I bet it's a really good movie. There's a lot of fantastic acting, I think. His name's Ralph Fiennes, I forget his name, but Voldemort, fantastic at acting. Stanley Tucci's in this, who is another guy I like. But yeah, it's just slow. It's
Hmm.
not in my wheelhouse. However, it does have the makings of like a good Oscar winning film.
Yeah. I could see it like definitely winning something for sure.
Yeah, it has to.
Yeah, I just don't think it's something I want to watch either, just because I don't know, it was slow, and then the whole Pope thing. I don't know. I need something more than that. But
What?
we'll talk about one last one here. A complete unknown, and I will say, much like my knowledge of Bob Dylan going into the movie, completely unknown. Did not know anything about Bob Dylan really, and that all changed after the movie. So it starts out, it's 1961. An unknown 19-year-old Bob Dylan arrives in New York City with his guitar and makes a relationship with music icons on his meteoric rise, culminating in a groundbreaking performance that reverberates worldwide. So, I mean, that's a fucking hell of an explanation, because that's the movie. Um, it was technically my first movie of 2025, but it's still a 2024 release, so it doesn't count. And I was in the middle of a snowstorm to see this movie, so that didn't help out my case either, but still. This movie just absolutely fucking rules. It's the type of movie that typically every year there's one I end up absolutely loving. It's set in the 60s, and it takes you back to that time so well. Kennedy's the president. They're on the verge of nuclear war in a Cold War. And then we get just Bob Dylan singing at open mics. There was a scene in the movie where they're literally on the news talking about how nuclear war was basically imminent. People are fleeing their apartments in New York City, and Bob just goes down to like a bar to sing on the mic and play his guitar and his harmonica, and ends up banging the hottest chick in town that sings folk music.
Yes, man.
Unreal riz out of the Bob man there, but and then we get a lot of another one of my favorites in it too, Johnny Cash. He's always going to be a highlight for me no matter what. I loved Walk the Line, but the guy that plays him in this movie, I have to look up who he is because he looked familiar. He was.
Dude, in the trailer, he sounded perfect.
It was awesome. I can't find him on the IMDb page. But I think he looks more like Johnny Cash than Joaquin obviously did back in the day. And it was cool to see that how close Johnny Cash and Bob Dylan were. Like they were pen pals for a while. Yeah, I found him. His name's Boyd Holbrook, and he was in Logan. He was in The Predator. He's in The Host. I thought that's what he looked like. He was in The Bike Riders too. Oh hell yeah, he was the guy in The Bike Riders that was like the dude from California or something like that, or the guy that was like smart. I don't know.
Oh, the one that would actually read?
Yeah, Cash. He had a whole bunch of good quotes as Johnny Cash. He would be like, "Go on in and tread some mud on the carpet, Bob Dylan." Like it was awesome. So it was cool to see how close their relationship was. They would like write each other letters and stuff, and then they would play the same like festivals and stuff together. At one point, Johnny writes him a letter, and he's like, "Your album, The Freewheelin' Bob Dylan, is my most prized possession." And so after the movie, I texted you. I went out and I've been on such a Bob Dylan kick ever since then because I never listened to him, and now I absolutely love him because his music is like folky, but then it becomes more like he does more electronic music afterwards, like electric guitar in a band, and then
That
it's
wasn't that like a
every
huge thing? Like
it
people made a
was.
big deal after. They're like, "Oh, when Dylan went electric, that was the end of it."
That's pretty much the whole third act of the film, and
Okay, okay.
it's so fucking good. But yeah. So after the, I'll wait to talk about it after the movie till after I'm done. But I could go on forever about this movie because I took so many notes because it was me and a couple other old people there. But the third act is just, it blew me away. So he played the same festival every year from like 61 to 65. It was called the Newport Folk Festival. And it was in 65 whenever he switched from playing folk music to mostly with like a electric guitar and a band. They were like, the people that organized the show are like wondering what he's going to do. Like, what are you going to do, Bob? What are you going to play? Like, we know you don't do as much folk anymore. Like, what are you going to do? He goes out and he just tells him, he's like, play loud and fast. He plays 3 like songs with his band, like loud electronic fucking guitar music, and people hated it. It was like basically like Woodstock '99, but in the '60s. People were throwing shit to the stage. He had to get like they kind of like were booing him off the stage, and people were trying to turn it down, and then people wouldn't let him. And then they leave the stage. He walks back out, and he does one song with his electric guitar or with his acoustic and his harmonica, and then that's how he ends it. It was fucking unbelievable. And then the end of the movie's talking about how in '65 is when his album Highway 61 Revisited came out, and it was like considered one of the best albums of all time. I went out the next day and I bought it on vinyl, and I listen to it all the time now. Tay's probably sick of me listening to so much Bob Dylan, but I absolutely love this movie. Now I love Bob Dylan. 10 out of 10.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm not not the biggest Bob Dylan guy either, but it's like if I hear a song, I'm like, yeah, that's a classic, and I know it is. It's weird that like I don't intricately know a lot of his music, but if I hear it, I'm like, oh yeah, that song's in like a shit ton of movies, or a shit ton of TV shows.
Yeah.
Also, he spells his last name like mine, so that's funny. In jiu-jitsu, my coach, he's Brazilian, and he calls me Bob Dylan.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, no, it's spelled the same, but yeah, sometimes he just straight up calls me Bob. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm fucking Bob now. I'm not gonna tell
That's
this
great.
black belt no. But yeah, I am. Oh no, I unplugged. Hold on, you can hear me. I can't hear you. I unplugged my headphones. Hello, there you are. Okay, you're back.
Yeah.
No, I got too excited. Yes, I really want to see this movie. I will be seeing this movie definitely before we do our awards, because it will absolutely have a massive chance of getting that #1 spot stolen, which is still currently Longlegs. So
Yeah,
we
and
will.
I just realized I'm the same guy that directed Walk the Line directed this one, so that's probably why
Really?
he like features Johnny Cash so much. Yeah, did not even realize.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, that's
James
even more
Mangold.
exciting.
Yeah, so he did Walk the Line. He's done 310 to Yuma, The Wolverine, Logan, Ford v Ferrari. He's
Dude,
done a
this
bunch of
guy
shit.
rules. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know how much this guy actually rules, but he does.
Okay,
And that also explains why the guy that plays Johnny Cash, like he's worked with him before he's in Logan. So it all makes sense now.
Interesting.
Yeah, super interesting. And I think I might even be higher on this movie than a lot of people are. I mean, it's getting like great reviews. I think it's got a 7.8 on IMDb. It's really doing well on Rotten Tomatoes. Let me check just for the hell of it. But for whatever reason, there's always a movie each year that it takes place in the past. It tells a good story. It takes you to that era, and I fucking love it. This one, yeah, 79% certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, 96% critic score. So yeah, I mean, hell yeah, just a good movie.
Yeah, I'm absolutely in. I need to get my ass to theaters. I almost saw there was a double feature. It was a complete unknown. Like guess what the opening movie was it for a time?
Homestead.
It was Homestead. I'm like Ty said that movie sucks ass. There's not a chance I'm going to see that.
No, fuck that. That's wild.
So we ended up not seeing it, but yeah, 100% seeing that movie. I love a good music, a documentary style film. I'm all about it. Love Walk the Line, one of the best to do that. And now I have a new favorite director, and I didn't even know about it.
Fuck yeah, this guy rules.
Yeah, that guy rules.
And Tim Chalamet, like, what a fucking guy.
Yeah,
what a year he's having.
He's the bro.
Unbelievable year. Did you listen to him on Theo Vaughn's podcast?
I did. Yeah,
so funny,
he's
so cool,
chill.
Super chill dude, and you would never know.
I also heard, and I'm hoping it's true. I'm hoping I'm not being misled here. I heard he worked with Post Malone to get the Bob Dylan voice.
That's cool. Yeah, at first, like, because he has an accent, and it was like, do I like this accent? By the end, you can't even like. You're just like, you're in. Yeah, it was awesome movie, awesome performance.
Freaking Golden Globes,
guaranteed. We're on to year 2 now, so we know we got our shit together.
They've been waiting to hear what we think. We'll give it to them.
We'll give it to them good, brother.
They want it or not. Okay, no, we're not saying that.
Okay.
Bye. See you later. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time.